Joining us tonight, former Reagan White House political director, Republican strategist, Fox Business political analyst Ed Rollins. Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor, Fox Business contributor. First, Carl Bernstein. Ed, your thoughts?
My thoughts are Carl basically got a Pulitzer once for never having met Deep Throat when he was writing. Never met Richard Nixon, never met Deep Throat when he got the Pulitzer Prize for basically doing the. I think he thought he was going to get another one. He's not. That's a channel that's become unwatchable, and I think it's irresponsible, and I think it needs to give a big apology. Dershowitz was absolutely right on this.
He's right, and frankly, kudos to Alan for having the guts to say what is clear truth. Also, to say clearly that in his judgment, Mueller copped out his expression on the issue of obstruction. You either prosecute or you don't. There's no such thing as exoneration. First, on CNN and the media.
Well, you know, I think we have, I lump them into three different categories of crooks that we have here. We have the people in the media doing their thing. You have the Democrat politicians who've been lying to their supporters now for 2 years about all this stuff and ginning up all this excitement that now is just total disappointment. But the most terrifying part of all of this, of course, is the actions of the previous administration. And the idea that none of this stuff about collusion is true. Mm-hmm. We now know that. But what has not been investigated is the fact that we had a sitting administration using our spying apparatus to spy on political opponents
with the knowledge of the President Obama.
We don't know for certain, but I don't see how decisions like that get made without very high level knowledge.
We know one thing: they were lying from Jump Street, Clapper, Brennan, Comey. Talking about every intelligence agency in the country had created a consensus around collusion. They were lying from the very beginning because
they knew we
had three agencies.
They knew we had weapons of mass destruction in that war, and they didn't know anything about 9/11. It didn't come out till long after it had happened. And my sense is it's time to go in there and look hard.
Well, their incompetence is one thing. I'm talking now about their outright corruption.
Well,
political corruption.
They are corrupt, and it's time to
under Obama.
Time to get cleaned out. And I think the most important element is the FBI. The FBI is the law enforcement agency, and obviously that was the one at the end of the day that was driving some of this. And I think that was where it was irresponsible. And I hope the new director, the new attorney general, basically get in there and clean house.
And I thought, you know, the big reason that most reporters became reporters, got into the news business, was to ferret out this kind of government corruption, this abuse of power. That, you know, that's what the Pentagon Papers was about. That's what Watergate was about. And the idea that the almost entire media is going to turn a blind eye to those questions in this situation, it proves they're, you know,
how much should we hold AT&T, Comcast, these corporate masters of these absolutely politically corrupt left-wing news outlets, how much should they be held accountable?
Can you imagine if these corporate masters were operating on the other side of the coin, on the other side, you know, on behalf of Republicans? There would be an outcry, and you don't hear it now.
No, you wouldn't have any of these mergers. You wouldn't have any of the things that have occurred. I think they need to be looked at legitimately, and their whole relationships with the news organizations needs to be looked at hard, because they're driving an agenda that's not the best interest of the country.
Ronna McDaniel, then asking her questions, put in front of everyone who would pay attention to her questions, a reason that this president has on occasion mentioned the name John McCain. Asking why we don't have an answer as to the senator's passing of a dossier to the FBI and his one-time assistant doing some of the work on that. It's truly an ugly situation in which a lot of people participated and for their own purposes but certainly not for the nation.
Well, what John McCain did is he gave it a credibility that it should not have had and did not
Gave
have.
them a basis for which the media could go print this nonsense.
And it underscores...
BuzzFeed didn't need an excuse.
Right. But it underscores the importance of, and the president is exactly right. They should investigate how this thing started. They should investigate every single aspect of that because it's terrifying to the degree to which the previous administration weaponized our intelligence services to investigate political opponents.
Very quickly, you think we're going to hear soon from the rhinos who have fought this president at every turn, ugly and vicious and nasty and cowardly? Do you think they might say, "I'm sorry, Mr. President, we should have supported. We would have made a difference had we done so"?
They won't say they're sorry, but you got to keep a suspicious eye on them at all times.
Oh.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
No, I'm just going to keep my eye on the whatever you want to call them. Ed Rollins, Charlie Hurt, thanks so much.
Thanks, Lou.
Appreciate it.